Honestly, books like this, Shadow and Bone, are why I stopped literally reading young adult books. I'm not joking when I say, in my eyes, the young adult genre is technically just dead. I know it's not a genre, but putting all of that jargon aside, right now, the young adult category, age category, is so identifiable that it is a genre. And you see, the problem is that it is identifiable. This is why, honestly, this review has to be a rant review. It cannot be a normal review, okay? I cannot stay calm because back in the day, I actually used to read a lot of young adult books. But now, I actually do not read these books anymore. Why? Primarily because of this, because of Shadow and Bone. And it's not just Shadow and Bone. You would think it's about this book. You think this book was so bad, it scared me off the, entire age category. But no, it is actually the way that young adult has been corporatized, the way that young adult books have been structured so badly and so terribly that they have become extremely predictable, where you have your young character who has a hidden power, and then once, initially they are nobody, no one looks at them, no one takes note, and then suddenly when that power is revealed, the entire world is looking at them. It's the chosen one trope, but if it was terrible, with no action, because most of these characters, when their remarkable power is revealed, like Shadow and Bone, they go on to a castle and they stay there. At least in the epic fantasy genre, they go and fight dragons. In here, they do nothing. And it's so sad because the TV show for Shadow and Bone, I actually watched it and it revitalized my hope in young adult because I had never read Shadow and Bone. I had read some of, Six of Crows, and I loved the character Kaz. I also loved Inaj. But, you see, I watched the TV show for Shadow and Bone and I thought it was an adaptation of just these books, okay, the 3 books, and that was it. I thought it was just this trilogy. But no, actually there are characters from Six of Crows, and I thought these characters were present in the book. I thought these characters were in Shadow and Bone, literally the book Shadow and Bone, the first book. But I was terribly disappointed to find that all the uninteresting parts of the TV show, which had Elena Starkov in them, and then technically you have her power, Sun Summoner, suddenly inside the fold when she is in danger, when she accepts she's going to die. She shoots a beam of light, she explodes with light, and then she saves everybody. She's brought to the summoner, then she goes to the little palace. Well, guess what? You see, that in the TV show is happening in parallel with other events that include the Dreg, and that include Kaz, that include Inaj, that include all of these other gang-related activity. And that was so interesting, so beautiful, so... It was just much more interesting, to a point where at some point in the 4th, 5th episode in the TV show, I was skipping stuff with Elena to go and to, fast forward to, Kaz coming for Elena, for Alina, right? And it was really terrible to see that in the book. We don't really get any of that. No, hold on. Because it might not be fair to compare these two, products, or at least stories, this way, okay? And I understand that. However, the problem I'm trying to actually bring to your attention is this problem with the young adult category, as well as with Shadow and Bone. Because what do you get in the book? I spent 4 days reading that shit. I spent really, it was like 90,000 words, something like that. And it didn't take long. All I had to do was just every day read 30,000 words or something like that. It was a fast read, yes, but it was extremely dull. It was very, very predictable. And this is the problem I'm trying to bring to your attention. You see, what makes the TV show good, what makes good young adult, is not this corporatized BS. It's not this chosen girl who has hidden power, who goes to a castle and joins royalty. Don't do that. At least do like epic fantasy, where they have this character go on a journey and they are attacked by monsters left and right and they have to run. And it's like, the fellowship. At least do the better chosen one trope if you're going to do a chosen one trope. But number 2, at least don't be predictable as an entire age category. Because this entire YA stuff has been so stuffed and so filled to the brim with characters that are so flat, so predictable. Like, what is with Alina? Like, Starkov. What about her character? Like, she is extremely flat. At least in the TV show, she deals with discrimination. But in here, she deals with nothing. She's just a flat character. She has nothing interesting. Okay, Kaladin from the Stormlight Archive is a flat character, but he is tested well. He is pushed to the brink of his character and his conviction is tested. What about Starkov? Nothing about her is tested. She's just so dull and so uninteresting. And an entire book revolving around a dull, uninteresting character blows my mind. It blows my mind how an author thought to have an entire book revolving around the most bland character in. You know what I recommend in the Grisha verse? This is called the Grisha verse, right? And Baduga, I think the Le Baduga, something like that. Beautiful name. When you look at it, when you try to pronounce it, you cannot. Very beautiful name for the eyes. Anyhow, this author writes very well. He writes, he, she, I have no idea. Anyway, technically speaking, I would say skip all the way to the Six of Crows, because few weeks ago, I said I DNF'd Six of Crows, but I only DNF'd the Six of Crows because I read it in conjunction with Poppy War, which looked a lot more interesting. So I just kept reading Poppy War and I forgot about Six of Crows. But Six of Crows is way better than this. Six of Crows is leagues better than this story. I am so baffled why this particular author started their career with Shadow and Bone. It doesn't make sense. Anyhow, technically speaking, let's get into the review. But first of all, before we do that, I want to really state that YA is dead. YA is dead. It has been corporatized. It is predictable. All the stories that are coming out, that are blowing up, that are becoming famous, they have very predictable things about them. I don't know who this is to blame. Like, do I blame the industry? Do I blame the publishers? Do I blame the authors? And the authors are just doing this because they want fame or clout? Or is it the readers who want this? I am a reader and I don't want this. So I'm going to assume it's not the readers. I'm going to assume it's publishers who just want to play it safe. But anyhow, YA is technically dying. It is literally in its former days of glory. Now, what is taking over is thriller books, romance books, and fantasy books. That's literally all the rage. And I think these three genres will keep on becoming more and more famous, and YA will keep dying out, okay? The books that used to be like The Hunger Games, Twilight, those are going to be more and more difficult to produce in the future. The success is going to be more and more difficult to produce in the future, and less authors will feel the need to write YA, right? Because you see, right now the way it is that if you want to get into the industry, you write YA and then you hop off. A lot of people are using YA as a hopping off point. Anyway, I just wanted to state that because as I was reading this book, this was what was going on in my head. This book is literally an indicator of why this genre is dying. Let's get into the actual review. So as I said moments ago, the biggest problem with this story is that it is extremely predictable. And it uses a lot of these cliches that have been done a million times. No, stop. It's time to kill this. It's time to move on. Because I promise you there are way more things that can be done with YA than this, okay? Moving on. Let's talk about the characters. Alina Starkov is extremely bland. She has nothing to offer. And number two, she has nothing interesting about her. So she can host and be the sort of POV character for an entire book. That would be a terrible decision, in my opinion. In fact, in the TV show, they do not fall into this trap. They are not stupid. They don't fall into this trap. What they do in the TV show is they have many different characters that are juxtaposed very beautifully, might I add, who actually come together to create a very interesting story. And if you're not interested by one part, you can be interested by another, as was the case for me. I was not interested in Elena. I was following Kaz as well as the Dreg. Anyhow, the character of Elena Starkov has nothing to offer, at least in the TV show. She deals with discrimination. She is a shoo, I believe, in the TV show. And technically speaking, that is very interesting. But that discrimination, that exploration, that topic, that dynamic does not exist in the books, which it's just not good. Even though I read this book in 4 days, even though it's like 80,000 words, I actually felt that the book was very slow. No wonder, because the book is just so obsessed with Elena, and I don't understand. This is a very interesting world. This is a really, really interesting world. There are far more interesting characters that exist. Why is the book so obsessed with just one character? Let us move to other characters. That would be way better. And then there is this other thing with this toxic, unnecessary love triangle between the Darkling and I believe Mal. And this, of course, you know, the tropic shit, right? You have this girl, and she is special, and then there are two guys. One of them is a badass, and the other one is a normal guy or a sweetheart. And technically speaking, the girl, you know, at some point, it looks like she's going with a bad boy, and then we are supposed to be having severe reactions. But all I have is just anger. All I have is, man, I could really be reading better books right now. I could really be reading other better books. Instead, I'm reading this love triangle about this, you know, in this book that follows a boring character that is very predictable. And the story is actually set in a very interesting world. That rubs the salt in the wound, okay? I am like, wow, this world is so interesting. Why are you stuck here? However, there is good in this story. There is good in this story. And the good in here is the prose. The author knows how to write prose. They know how to use the language. They know how to write beautiful descriptions. They know how to make a scene that involves a very boring character interesting somehow. I think that is a sort of magic, some dark magic. Whatever it is, the author knows how to write a scene so that they can entice it with the language. And I think if this was a debut novel, I think this was the reason it got published and got picked up initially. And that reason is that this book just has, basically it's beautifully written, and that contributed to swaying the publisher opinion to a point where they were like, okay, yeah, it's predictable. Yeah, it fits into the market niche. But on top of that, it's well written, it's beautifully written, so we just publish it. And I think that was mainly, I predict that might have been, and I speculate, that might have been the reason why it got published. And then there is the best part about this book, which is the fold. Because you see, in the TV show, the fold doesn't look scary. The TV show, the fold is not, there's just not, I don't feel scared by the fold. Instead, I think the fold is awesome. But in the books, I am actually scared of the fold. I don't want to go into that shit. So I think, you know, kudos to the author. I think they've done a remarkably good job. A remarkably good job making sure that the fold feels scary, unlike the TV show, where it's like, wow, this is an awesome place. I would like the characters to go inside it. I don't want the characters to go inside in the books, right? So anyhow, the fold is way better written, and it feels like an horror element, as if it was intended to be scary, right? So that is going to be it for this review. I hope that you enjoyed. I literally don't know what to say. Tell me what you think about the book in the comments below. Have a nice day.